Lightning Bolt are back in full force. And when I say full force, I mean full force. They've always been a popular band amongst music lovers. They have always been hailed as one of the best noise rock bands pretty much of all time, especially of the 2000s. I wouldn't even be surprised if most people would have them as their number one of the 2000s. For very good reason. Ride the Skies, Wonderful Rainbow, these are classics in the genre without a doubt. But really, since like the late 2000s, they haven't really had that much hype. They've had albums quite frequently over the past few years. None of them have really been celebrated in any particular way, but in 2019, against all odds, they are getting a lot of praise for this new album, Sonic Citadel. For very good reason too. It seems as though they've amped things up even further with this album, going as crazy as they possibly can, and the results are very good. In terms of my enjoyment though, not quite as strong as I appreciate the album. It's one of those albums you listen to, you appreciate it more than you end up liking it. Doesn't happen often, no, not really, but it can happen. It happened quite recently when I listened to the band Yellow Swans for the first time. I came out of it thinking it was good, but I wasn't like loving it. I appreciated it more than I ended up liking it. Now this album is extremely ferocious. Like if you're not a fan of anything that's a bit too abrasive, a bit too noisy, a bit too chaotic, then it's not going to be for you. But if this is your kind of thing, then you're going to be all over this album. My issues tend to lie with the vocals on this album. They're often very muffled, buried. I just want them to break loose, break free out of their cage and completely cause havoc wherever they are, because I just don't feel like they're getting any room to breathe. Opening track is the best example of this for me, where it just kicks off in the most relentless way it possibly could, and yet the vocals just get really annoying to me. They're very repetitive. I'm just not enjoying the vocal melody at all, if you can even call it a vocal melody. It's just an underwhelming moment for me because I am liking everything I'm hearing except for the vocals. But luckily though, on other tracks there are other things to focus on. It's not like they're the main focus of the entire album anyway. On the track Air Conditioning, the drumming is absolutely fantastic. It is just constantly punching you in the face. The guitar riff that repeats is just so good. Some of the guitar riffs on this entire album actually are just so bloody great. Bouncy House is a great example of that as well, where it's just so friggin' noisy. The entire song is just pounding you, but that guitar riff just sticks out. It is so good. In comparison to how I feel about Big Banger, where it's just complete noise. It might be the noisiest track on the entire album. It's impressive from the standpoint of watching from a distance and seeing what they're able to create, but in terms of listening to it, it does just kind of lose. I don't know what it loses, but I'm not entirely won over with it. I just think after a few listens of the album, it starts to lose its magic a bit, because you've heard it once, and then you're thinking, do I need to hear it again? I'm not sure. I'm just sat in the middle of the end of the world, watching the world burning, but I'm just sat in my bedroom drinking a cup of Yorkshire tea, not being fazed by anything really. It's just kind of blowing by, and I'm going, yeah. I would say the best track on the album might be Hüsker, Dön't though. I love the descending guitar riff on this one. It is really impressive to listen to. Has a bit more of a post-hardcore influence on this one, maybe why I enjoy it more because of that, as opposed to just being something that's incredibly brutal and noisy. But I guess they might be also doing that as a reference to the band Hüsker Dü. Either way, I think it's a really good song, and I think people will come out of this album citing this song as maybe their favourite as well. The album does close off in typical Lightning Bolt fashion. I mean, the album has been so brutal up until this point. Of course they had to end on, again, what might be the most brutal song here, either this one or Big Banger, which I've already mentioned. As the song moves along, it just gets more and more hectic, and those are like screaming whistles that come through. It just sounds like a train that's about to crash Like it sounds crazy. You just got to turn the volume down because your hearing is going to be completely messed up on this track. Every time I was listening to this album, I kept constantly adjusting the volume because there were so many points where it just burst my ears, and then there were other points where it was kind of a bit more tolerable. But yeah, basically this is pretty good. I definitely get why this one has garnered as much attention as it has. Good to see Lightning Bolt get the attention once again so late into their career at this point. But it's not something I'm really itching to return to on a regular basis. Unfortunately, I just find it to be enjoyable, and then I'm kind of done with it once it's over. So I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10. Again, definitely see why people are loving it as much as they do. Thank you for watching the review. Let me know what you think of what I said, if you like what I said, if you disagree, if you love the album, hate the album, whatever. Let me know, leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good day. See you soon. Bye.